You're a gamer and you want to understand monitors. I assume that's why you're here. Well, it just so happens to be that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be covering everything there is to know about monitors. So lean back, educate yourself, and end up knowing stuff about monitors after this video is done. There are so many interesting things to talk about when it comes to monitors, so I'm just going to start at the top. There are three different main panel types. We have TN panels, VA panels, and IPS panels. TN has always been considered the fastest of the three types. If you are a professional esports athlete in some kind of competitive, fast-paced game, TN panel is still the way to go. It is a fast panel type with the lowest latency, but the VA panels and the IPS panels has really come along the last couple of years, so they are also considered very, very fast panel types, or can at least be. While TN panels are fast, IPS panels look good. They have the best colors, contrast, and viewing angles. So if you are into games where speed matters less and good color experience and contrast experience and general look is more important, IPS panel might be the choice for you. Now, IPS panels are also the panel type that you see in the creative industry where people are editing photos and video as well. The VA panel is kind of a jack of all trades. It's the panel type that's somewhere in between TN and IPS. It is generally faster than the IPS panel in terms of response time, but it is also much more color correct and has better contrast and viewing angles than the TN panel. So it places itself in between and is considered a good all-around panel type. TN panels will have the least amount of ghosting or blurriness, while the VA and IPS panels will have more ghosting in games where you see a lot of movement, a lot of fast movement. How fast does your monitor respond to mouse clicks and keyboard inputs? This mostly comes down to your monitor's response time. There are a few ways to measure a monitor's response time, but most companies that produce monitors themselves, they use the MPRT. Ever seen a monitor with the 1ms label? That means a pixel remains visible 1 millisecond after it has received information to change. 60 Hz means 60 images per second. So a monitor like this, which has 240 Hz, will refresh its images 240 times per second. A 240 Hz monitor does require something from your PC. You need a PC that can actually utilize the fact that you have a 240 Hz monitor. So if you're playing a game where you can achieve 120 FPS or frames per second, you are only utilizing 120 Hz of your monitor. So in order to utilize the full 240 Hz, you need to produce 240 frames per second or more. The monitor I showed you here is a 27-inch. Right now it's a vertical alignment. It can rotate down to horizontal like the other ones. But the 27 is by many considered the standard of gaming monitors. Previously, 24-inch was considered the standard, and actually many professional esports athletes still prefer 24-inch when competing. But for the casual gamer, 27-inch should be considered the standard size. You also see 32-inch monitors, and in our case a 34-inch monitor right here. Now there are some that goes even bigger, up to 49-inch. Now what we have over here, and actually also here, are curved monitors instead of a flat one. The curved monitors are usually VA panels, although they can come with a IPS panel. They are much more expensive, so you will usually see them with VA panels. Like I stated before, the TN panel has a bad viewing angle, so putting a TN panel in a curved monitor would not be a good idea. So VA panels are the choice for most curved monitors. Now, curved monitors are usually very, very good for immersion in games. Now, what I mean by immersion is If you're playing a game where you feel like you're becoming a part of the game, exploration games like No Man's Sky or Skyrim or Minesweeper, immersion is really, really important, and that's where you get the benefit from a curved monitor, because you have a feeling of it actually expanding around you, so you can become more immersed in the game. Our 34-inch curved monitor has the aspect ratio of 21:9, where a regular monitor has 16:9. So this means much wider field of view in some games where you can actually take advantage of this. In games like Apex Legends or Dota, you will have a wider field of view, which directly translates to you being able to see opponents entering your field of view earlier than you would if you were to use a regular aspect ratio monitor. So in some games, it can actually be an advantage to have a ultra-wide monitor like this. 1080p is short for 1920 times 1080 pixels. That is the standard resolution of most monitors. Now you can go up to 1440p, and there's also 4K and 8K. The resolution determines how many pixels you can see on a monitor. So if you have a bigger monitor with a low resolution, you will see bigger pixels. And if you have a small monitor with a high resolution, if you have a 24-inch monitor with 8K resolution, the picture will look really, really crispy. Which is kind of this thing you have with a phone. Actually, they have very small monitors with quite high resolution, which is why everything seems more crisp on a phone. So that's just to say that 1080p does look better on a 24-inch monitor than 1080p looks in a 34-inch monitor. It is worth noting that the price does go up when you go up to 4K or even 8K. And that's probably why most monitors you see for gaming are either 1080 or 1440p. If you want a monitor for gaming, it should be G-Sync or FreeSync compatible. G-Sync is the terminology that NVIDIA uses, and FreeSync is AMD's term for technology that prevents screen tear and FPS stutters. Your game runs at a fixed 165 frames per second, but your GPU renders at variable speed. These two things don't sync up, which causes the above mentioned problems. When a monitor is either FreeSync or G-Sync compatible, that's not an issue. We are still in the age of LCD when it comes to gaming monitors, even though we do see more OLED monitors entering the market. Still, they're expensive and probably still too early to be an actual competitor when it comes to gaming monitors. In short, the OLED offers much better contrast and colors, which is actually something you see on phones as well. That's why they always look more crisp than your monitor, that combined with the better resolution, as mentioned before. Now, one of the drawbacks with an OLED display is that it has much lower brightness, and there's a very serious risk of permanent burn damage on your monitor. Now, what do you mean by burn damage? It's not that it can catch on fire, but you can burn your images permanently on the display if you leave a screen on for too long. So if you're on your desktop and you are leaving at that for hours and hours on, and that's a thing you regularly do, there's a very real risk of you burning that desktop image permanently in your monitor. So when you are playing games, you will still see outlines of your desktop. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to fix that. So that's a very real issue with the OLED displays. So yeah, OLED display, it's going to be a hard pass from us. They do look amazing. The black is absolute black on an OLED display, where in an LCD display it's just imitated black. Images look better on OLED, but for gaming, the fact that you can do permanent damage to your monitor by just leaving it on, it's just not something we would recommend anyone going for at this point, at least. So let's hear it in the comments down below. What is your next monitor going to look like? Is it going to be the ultra wide Samsung Odyssey? Has one of these caught your interest? Well, let's hear it. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you learned something here today.